The ending of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Ghost War brings together political manipulation, intelligence warfare, and a global conspiracy that nearly pushes the world into complete destruction. What begins as another dangerous mission for Jack Ryan slowly transforms into a nightmare scenario where the balance between world powers starts collapsing from the inside. By the time the final chapters begin, Ryan already understands that the attacks and international incidents happening across the globe are not random acts of aggression. Someone has carefully engineered every event to create distrust between the United States and Russia. Small conflicts are intentionally exaggerated, intelligence reports are manipulated, and military responses are designed to provoke retaliation. Every move is part of a larger plan meant to drag both countries toward war. Ryan realizes that the real battlefield is no longer limited to soldiers or missiles. The conflict is happening through information, politics, and fear. The people responsible understand that modern nations can be destroyed without ever firing the first official shot. All they need to do is create enough confusion for world leaders to turn against one another. As tensions continue rising, both America and Russia begin preparing for military escalation. Politicians demand stronger responses, military officials push for retaliation, and intelligence agencies become overwhelmed trying to determine what information is real and what has been fabricated. The atmosphere becomes increasingly unstable because nobody fully trusts anyone anymore. This is where the ending becomes especially dangerous for Jack Ryan. He uncovers evidence suggesting that several international incidents were deliberately staged to create panic. The attacks were designed to look like acts of aggression carried out by rival governments. But Ryan discovers that hidden forces are operating behind the scenes. Their goal is not simply political power. They want total chaos, because chaos weakens nations and allows extremist groups and corrupt organizations to gain influence. Ryan quickly understands that time is running out. Once governments fully commit to military retaliation, there may be no way to stop the conflict. One mistake could trigger a chain reaction leading to nuclear war. The fear surrounding this possibility dominates the final section of the story. While Ryan searches for proof, he also struggles against resistance from within his own side. Some officials believe the threat from Russia is real and unavoidable. Others think Ryan is wasting valuable time chasing conspiracy theories while enemies prepare attacks. The deeper Ryan investigates, the more isolated he becomes. Even trusted allies begin questioning whether he can actually prove his claims before it is too late. The ending highlights one of Jack Ryan's defining characteristics throughout the franchise. Unlike traditional action heroes who solve problems through violence alone, Ryan succeeds because he refuses to stop searching for the truth. He understands that reacting emotionally is exactly what the conspirators want. Every false flag operation depends on fear controlling political decisions. As military forces move closer to direct confrontation, Ryan follows a trail of intelligence that leads him to the people orchestrating the crisis. He discovers a network of individuals using cyber warfare, misinformation campaigns, covert attacks, and political instability to manipulate entire governments. Their strategy relies on pushing world leaders into making catastrophic choices themselves. The story emphasizes how modern warfare has evolved. Instead of invading countries with massive armies, enemies can now destabilize nations by controlling narratives and spreading fear. This makes the conspiracy in Ghost War feel especially dangerous because the attacks are almost invisible until the damage has already been done. Ryan's investigation eventually reveals evidence that proves the conspiracy exists. However, obtaining the truth is only half the battle. The real challenge becomes convincing powerful leaders before military escalation reaches the point of no return. At this stage, tensions between America and Russia are already so high that many officials are prepared to act immediately. The climax builds around Ryan trying to expose the truth before either side launches irreversible retaliation. Intelligence agencies scramble to verify information, while political leaders argue over how to respond. Every second matters, because one miscalculation could destroy millions of lives. At the center of the conflict is the idea that fear can be weaponized more effectively than bombs. The masterminds behind the conspiracy understand human psychology. They know governments under pressure often react aggressively rather than cautiously. By carefully manipulating information, they nearly succeed in turning two superpowers against each other. Ryan refuses to allow that outcome. Even though he faces pressure from every direction, he continues pushing forward with the evidence he has uncovered. His determination becomes the only thing standing between global stability and total disaster. The final confrontation is not presented as a massive battlefield filled with explosions. Instead, the tension comes from intelligence, timing, and political consequences. Ryan must expose the conspiracy quickly enough for world leaders to realize they have been manipulated. If he fails, war becomes inevitable. Eventually, the truth begins surfacing. The evidence Ryan uncovers forces officials to reconsider the events that pushed the countries toward conflict in the first place. Intelligence reports are re-examined, hidden connections are revealed, and the larger conspiracy slowly comes into focus. This revelation changes everything. Leaders who were preparing for retaliation suddenly realize they may have been manipulated into starting a catastrophic war based on lies. The exposure of the conspiracy prevents immediate escalation and temporarily pulls the world back from the edge. But the ending does not present this as a perfect victory. Even though Ryan succeeds in stopping the immediate crisis, the damage caused by the conspiracy remains severe. Trust between nations has already been weakened. Political divisions continue growing, and many people still struggle to separate truth from misinformation. The world survives the crisis, but it emerges more unstable than before. The ending also leaves Jack Ryan emotionally exhausted. Throughout the story, he witnesses how fragile global peace truly is. He sees how easily fear and manipulation can push governments toward violence. Unlike enemies that can simply be defeated in combat, misinformation and political extremism are threats that never fully disappear. Ryan understands this better than anyone by the final moments of the story. He may have stopped one conspiracy, but countless others could still be forming in the shadows. That realization gives the ending a darker tone compared to more traditional action thrillers. Another important aspect of the ending is how it reflects modern global politics. The story suggests that future wars may not begin with direct invasions. Instead, they may start with propaganda, cyber attacks, manipulated intelligence, and engineered distrust between nations. Ghost War uses Ryan's mission to explore how vulnerable the modern world has become to invisible forms of warfare. The title itself becomes more meaningful by the end. The Ghost War is not a traditional conflict fought openly on battlefields. It is a hidden war happening behind computer screens, intelligence operations, media narratives, and political manipulation. Most ordinary people never even realize the conflict exists until the consequences become impossible to ignore. By the conclusion, Jack Ryan once again proves why he remains one of the most important characters in the Tom Clancy universe. He is not just a fighter or intelligence officer. He represents reason in a world consumed by paranoia and fear. While others rush toward retaliation, Ryan focuses on understanding the bigger picture. The final scenes leave the future uncertain. Although the immediate threat has been stopped, the instability created during the crisis still lingers. Governments remain suspicious of one another, intelligence agencies continue operating in secrecy, and new enemies are already waiting for opportunities to exploit global tensions again. That unresolved tension is what makes the ending memorable. Ryan saves the world from immediate disaster, but he cannot completely eliminate the systems and fears that allowed the conspiracy to happen in the first place. Peace is restored temporarily, yet the story makes it clear that another crisis could emerge at any moment. The ending also leaves the door open for more stories involving Jack Ryan. His experiences during the Ghost War change him deeply, but they also reinforce his importance within the intelligence community. He becomes one of the few people capable of recognizing threats before they spiral into worldwide catastrophes. In the end, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan Ghost War is less about defeating a single villain and more about stopping an entire system of manipulation designed to turn nations against themselves. Ryan succeeds not because he is physically unstoppable, but because he refuses to accept easy answers during moments of fear and chaos. That is what ultimately saves the world.